So, once again, I'm here with the man, Chase from Twitch. Thanks for being here.
Hey, no problem. It's really excited to be here. This is Shack's first booth at E3, and I feel like you guys have definitely made it here.
And we're right here, right next to you guys.
Exactly.
I've actually just been watching you the entire show. Like, I've just been with binoculars, like sitting on top of the booth.
You guys have been coming over to our booth, and I saw people touching our carpet. Why is that?
We're touching your carpet because we gave you best carpet of show.
No. Get out of here, man.
Yes.
So, can people in chat, can you hear us yet?
I think they can hear. Yes, they can. Hemtroll, say what's up. Dozer, say what's up. I saw the levels, so now we're pretty good. Now we have to wait for the little 3-second delay. Okay. Come
Which
on.
camera am I looking in?
We're looking at this guy right here. We're just gonna stare right at it.
Yeah.
Come on, buddies.
How you doing, Dozer?
There we go.
Hey, Hemtroll. How you doing, man?
Hi. Okay. Yeah, it's Kill9. So Kill9's actually one of our. He's a community member on our site who actually works for you guys. He's one of the programmers for you dudes.
Oh, cool.
His name is Kill9 at Twitch.
Oh, hey, we got VG Captain Biggs in the house. How you doing, Captain?
Hey, what's going on? Awesome. So, okay, this year at Twitch, you guys have an awesome booth.
Cool.
It's awesome. It's like you have the main area, right? But then you have this like cool area for all the new partners. Oh.
Hey, I see you too. Eri Shack.
Nice. Well, we see gameplay of the carpet. Unfortunately, we won't. I'll make sure I get video of myself laying all over it and just like rolling in it later.
We'll tweet it out.
Yeah, we'll definitely tweet it out. So we're at the last day of the show. You guys have had some pretty crazy stuff happening over there. I heard you guys had a rapper of some sort.
Yeah, so Lil Wayne took our stage for some, actually performed next to us at the Samsung booth.
Yeah.
And then he came over, did an interview on our stage, and that was pretty wild.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's sort of like it was sort of like a throwback to old days of E3, where when something big happened in a booth, it would be like a vacuum. It'd suck everybody into one area and just go crazy, and then when it's over, everybody disperses back out. But it was really cool. And yeah, you know, he's definitely a gamer, and so it was great having him there as part of the show.
Yes.
I mean, the funny thing is, we're seeing, you know, so many rappers, musicians in general on Twitch nowadays. You know, T-Pain's really been blowing up.
He was around. I saw him like around a little bit before. Yeah.
He came here. Somebody took a picture with Method Man was out here, and
that's awesome.
I mean, the funny thing is that. You know, a lot of these celebrities, you know, they play games all the time for fun, so they realize, well, if I'm going to be doing it, I might as well just stream it so I can actually, you know, make more money, connect with their community in real time. It's
be out there.
Really cool experience for
Mob
them.
Lord says,
oh
who
my
is this
gosh,
Chase
we got
person?
Mob Lord in the house. Sorry, can somebody ban? No, just kidding. We'll keep you around.
Eliminate him.
And, Mob Lord, he's one of these guys who's one of those mods, guys who've been modding chats forever, you know, and every time I was in the channel, he would be there, or sometimes he'd be in a channel, I'd be there, and I've low jacked him now because I know if he's hanging out there, it's probably a cool streamer.
Nice. All right, cool. Thank you for coming by, Mob Lord. You should stop by more often. We're here because we're celebrating 20 years. 20 years of existing as a website. I've only been around for 3 or so, but we got to partner up with you guys. We've been doing some awesome stuff together. It's been great.
Well, actually, Shack is actually one of the first sites that really seemed to get Twitch in terms of the traditional gaming media outlets. Early on, you know, you had like a whole, you know, page devoted to your channels, to things happening on Twitch. It was really cool. You know, that's why we love working with you guys, because you get the community. Every event you're at, you're constantly doing interviews with our broadcasters, you know, putting them in the spotlight, you know, treating them like special, and that's something we always appreciate.
It's interesting. I feel like we maybe some other media outlets don't necessarily look at Twitch and actually people who are in Twitch as like worth covering, maybe, but I feel like it's a part of the gaming culture in general, right? And we're not, although we're covering games, we're also want to cover culture. So it's been cool to meet streamers and see like the progression. Like, you guys have been doing some awesome stuff, and now you're sort of making Twitch almost like a social network, which is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we actually see it as such. I mean, it's now with, you know, we've been rolling out more and more social features like our new friends and ways to really communicate one-on-one, even if you're not streaming at the time.
Right.
You know, and that's something that's really important to us and for our community. We want to, and we have a lot more stuff in the works we're really excited about. In fact, I'm going to drop a spoiler. No, I'm not. Nice try.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Oh, look, Kill9's here.
Panic basket.
Kill9 works for, I guess that little gear, the wrench next to his name means he works for you, and he does, you know, he does something.
He's one of our moderators now.
Thanks for coming, Kill9. Appreciate it. Are you here at the show, by the way? You should come by and hang out with us.
Hey, Joe.
So actually, we got one of our streamers in our community, Dozer. He's actually in the chat right now. He's pretty cool. He streams a ton. He plays a ton of Overwatch and Battleborn. He's into that right now, but he's a dope dude. You guys should check him out. Yeah, that's the other thing too that's interesting. We have our own community of people in our community that like love Twitch and utilize the platform really well. So it's awesome to be here with you guys, spotlight you guys, but then also get that love back. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. And E3, that's one of the big differences this year with E3 than past. This is the first year where we're actually seeing a lot of content creators getting in, being treated as media.
Yeah, they are.
And what's really cool is that I went with, I went with a bunch to one of the Sony press conference, and when we got out of there, I was talking to one, and she goes, they had an orchestra there, and she goes, that was so amazing, the music, I was like in tears, it was so incredible. And as somebody who's been going to E3 since 99,
right?
And I mean, I'm talking to friends of mine here who've been actually going longer than I have, so
yeah.
They make it hard for me to drop the mic when they go, oh yeah, I was here since '97. I'm like, oh. But
back when it was in other places.
There's a lot of media reporters and PR people like myself who've been going here forever, and we've seen it all. We've been to all the junkets and events, so it's cool to see the latest games. But that type of enthusiasm that treats what we're seeing as a higher level of entertainment that's just so special is something that I think is really being brought to the table with a lot of these people who are coming here for the first time. So I love seeing that enthusiasm. People who are just genuinely excited to be here. They don't see it as work, like, okay, I got to cover another E3. I do this every year. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got to E3 and somebody gave me their free swag bag. It's like, I love that passion, and it makes me more re-energized when I see other people excited about it. That's why I want to make sure we have the best carpet here at E3.
Right. You got to have the most comfortable carpet for everyone's needs. So you talked about being in the industry a little bit. You've shared some stories with me, but you used to work on the Dreamcast.
Yeah. So so before, back in the '90s, I was a video game reporter, and then in '99, I started at a PR agency where I was part of the Sega Dreamcast launch team. And that was the early days of Dreamcast, were like the salad days of E3.
Right.
It's where every booth was like a carnival. The Sega booth was like 2 stories. Media outlets would make appointments to come up on our second stage so they could film all of E3 around them. A lot of noise, you couldn't hear anything, it was packed. We'd have dancers on stage for Space Channel 5. We had Jet Grind Radio inline skaters and graffiti artists.
Right.
It was a spectacle, and right next to us we had some booth that I remember had like somebody coming out doing karaoke every hour. It was like it was just so bombastic, and you couldn't hear anything anywhere.
Yeah.
And then over time, companies start saying, we're spending a lot on E3. Maybe we should do separate things. So they pull out, and then they realize, but wait, now we're no longer part of the E3 conversation. They pull back in.
Yeah. It's been a lot of flux. Like it's been going back and forth.
And probably one of the most. I remember the one year, there's a couple of years where E3 was in Santa Monica,
right.
And they had all the developers, publishers were at hotels doing their demos. And so this is the year I was working on BioShock launch.
Oh, awesome.
And so I'm like, okay, we've got this game. We already internally, we knew this game was tracking to be like a game of the year, and it was. I mean, it's still one of the top-rated games of all time. And so I'm there with Ken Levine. We've got the game set up. But the difference between being at a hotel and being at E3 is that E3, there's tons of foot traffic. Any game, no matter what it is, there's always somebody waiting if your appointment doesn't show up.
Yeah.
But when you're in a hotel, the only people you can wait on are the people you've scheduled an appointment with. And before our first appointment, Sony had their press conference, but they bussed everybody to the press conference about a half hour away. It ran about a half hour to an hour late. So I'm sitting there with all the developers from BioShock, and they're saying, where's all the media? And we're just sitting there for an hour, half hour, just going,
don't worry.
Trying to look business. They'll come. But so I'm really glad that they found their way back to the convention center, and
I think it's interesting too. If you're talking about that flux of going back and forth, I feel like next year haven't they already talked about inviting more not media into E3 next year? Like they're sort of going back to that model where they might have a day where if you're in part of the public, you can come in and hang out.
I think that would be a good strategy.
Yeah.
To have 2 days of industry or 1 day of industry and 2 days of an opening to the public.
Yeah.
Because they go through all this work. The publishers to have these great booths and stuff. I would love to see a lot of that enthusiasm translate to all of the to all of the the non-industry people.
Absolutely.
And
especially for you guys.
And so much of the content at E3s, there's so much is happening online and being streamed, especially like the press conferences. So I think the more you can do with the hands-on with the local community out here would be great.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too because you guys have a lot of personalities, and people want to see their personality, like meet their personalities in person. So why not let some public come in here and see your broadcasters and hang out with them? I mean, you go to a show like PAX and that's all it is the entire time, right? It's people like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to meet my favorite streamer. We need more of that here. That would be awesome.
And
but
PAX sells out, So
right, exactly.
The model works for the public.
It is definitely working.
But I mean, there's definitely something that's important to have in Industry Day or Industry 2 days because
for sure,
you've got to be able to let the people who are covering the games get their hands on it and to really get time with the execs and all that stuff. So I definitely see the value in both.
Have you played anything fun yet at all?
It's funny. I actually saw my first game this morning. I've tried to walk around the booth. I've looked at. I watched like the press conferences, but the actual first game I've got to play was the Resident Evil VR over at Capcom. So their booth is phenomenal.
It's crazy.
It's like it looks like a house. And when you're inside the VR demo, you start off inside a house walking around, and that was a really cool experience. So I'm really excited. And before I even got to any scares or jumps or anything, just the atmosphere and being a virtual reality haunted, house where that something dark has happened.
Yeah,
was really creepy. That's the only one I've gotten time on. I always say, on my last day I'll spend time walking around, and the first booth I saw was this one.
Yeah, nice. So, yeah, I think I'm hoping to have like an hour off today to maybe see something.
Have you got to play any games yet?
I haven't. I've really been kind of running around doing like the appointments and doing that sort of thing and filming. So I'm hoping to go see the Nintendo booth. That thing I hear is amazing. It's a whole atmosphere inside with like a day-night cycle. It looks incredible.
Sounds like the top booth that's going to win a Game of Show type of award.
I think it might.
The award.
I think it might. Cool.
But if you did a South Hall booth of E3, I'd say that 2K's booth is. It's hard to beat that. Mafia 3 booth, they've got it. For those who haven't seen it, Google it, look around, or if you guys bring your crew wild.
It's insane.
It's got it's the whole thing. It looks like a jazz bar. They've got a quartet playing in there.
Yeah, someone like reading palms inside there.
Palm readers.
It's insane. 2 floors. It really looks like you walk through someplace in New Orleans. It's insane. Chase, Quake or Unreal Tournament?
Well, actually, I worked on the launch of one of the Quake games, so I might have to that's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Cuphead. I'm not good at the multiplayer games. I don't have the hand-eye coordination, so I need single-player games that actually the Cuphead is super hard.
It is really hard too,
and they actually like it that way, I think. But it's the coolest looking game because it's that throwback to old school Disney. Because I worked on Disney Epic Mickey, and I love how they tapped into all that Disney nostalgia, and so Cuphead really is.
Those guys are awesome too. It's like 2 brothers and a little team that's working on that game. It's incredible. I hope they actually put it out this year. I know they've been kind of like pushing it back a little bit.
And I did like a lot of the games that looked very Last of Us-ish during the PlayStation press conference, like Days Gone. And, I'm not saying the gameplay, just the aesthetics of the games look like that.
That quality.
Yeah, so I'm excited about those types.
So our site started as a Quake fan site. So you've piqued their interest saying, what release did you work on for Quake?
I worked on, I think it was Quake 3, I think it was for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Actually, what was cool, the way I used to create tchotchkes, when we used to do like swag for brands, the way I would come up with an idea was I would think of what's something I want, and then can I make this tie in with the game? Because I figured if I want it, other people would like it. Because a lot of times people presume to know what other people would like, and then they say, it's always, we'll send postcards or T-shirts back in the day, So I said, I need a new thermos. So I saw this thermos that looked like a giant bullet. So I said, okay, I got that, and then we branded it Quake 3.
Nice.
And but I sent it out. I had the card that you attach to it. I had the totally groovy 70s theme. Like I said, I want to be aesthetically opposite. To the game. Hey, here's this groovy, like this Quake thing. It was kind of fun.
Nice.
But that was the last Quake game I worked on.
They said that was the best Quake. They're saying that was the best Quake.
Quake 3 is the best Quake. I can't take all the credit, but I will take some of it. Yeah. Because now the Dreamcast's not there, I can. No.
Well, Dozer says.
All me. No.
Also, Dozer says Dreamcast was way ahead of its time. I agree.
It was. I always thought. I always felt that if Dreamcast. the games for it, like Jet Set Radio Future, either or. Space Channel 5. A lot of these games would have been perfect for the PSN and for the PlayStation Vita. I thought they were the quirky kind of games that would have been great.
Yeah.
Because they weren't always super long experiences, but they were unique. And the funny thing is that they put out all these games like Seaman and all these cool games, but they got great reviews, but the actual sales weren't that great.
Right.
And so then Sega started to get away from all the quirkiness and tried to do more traditional games. And those didn't do that great either, so I almost wish they stayed
just stuck with
weird.
it. Yeah, just said, you know what? Let's be weird. We're gonna own it, and we're just gonna keep pushing forward on it. That would have been awesome.
So what's Sega doing now? Persona, is that with Atlas?
Yeah, that's about. There's that, and then they have.
And I hear that's been nuts. Getting in to see that. There's a lot of hype behind that.
Yeah, and they do. There's Bird Cool. Hi, Power Stone, best Dreamcast game.
Oh, did you ever play Power Stone 2? That was also pretty fun.
Nice.
I actually worked on every first-party Dreamcast game.
Oh, nice.
From the launch of it to the death of the system. So, I can tell you something about every game.
Nice.
And I worked with Yu Suzuki for Shenmue. That was really exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Actually, you want to hear my horror story? My first botched PR job.
Oh, I definitely want to hear that.
Okay. So this is fun. So Yu Suzuki was going to be at the Game Developers Conference talking about Shenmue. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to have him interviewed by Greg Thomas from 2K Sports. Back then it was Sega Sports and was part of Sega.
Right.
So we said, because he was sort of a rising star and he still, he does all the 2K games that are crazy successful. So we said, we want to have him interview Yu Suzuki about, the old generation, new generation of Epic developers. And so I started trying to reach out to Japan, to Yu Suzuki's people, to start working on the presentation. And I would send over like 10 questions. They would respond to one of them with a yes or no, which wasn't a yes or no question. So they said, okay, Chase, we've got to go to Japan, meet with them there, and discuss the presentation. So I went to Japan, and I met with Yu Suzuki and his people, and they said, okay, here's all the things he wants to talk about. Here's all the questions. So we had a whole Q&A he put together. And so then I was like, okay, this is great. So then I got back, and then I was talking to 2K, Greg Thomas's people, and they're like, and he had all the questions he wanted to ask. And so you got to realize, and they're both very strong opinion people. You have to be that way to be, a lot of these creative directors, and so
you got to believe in.
So I said, okay, he has questions he wants to ask. He has the questions he wants. How am I going to solve this? I said, genius. I read the answers, and I said, I can actually fit every answer Yu Suzuki wants to give to one of the questions Greg does, but they weren't the same questions. But I said, everybody wins. This is perfect. I'm a genius. So this was my actual first big event I was tasked with in PR after the post-launch, but the first actual event with speakers, my first Game Developers Conference. So I get there, the two are meeting up on stage before to sort of rehearse, and they're like, suddenly I hear all this confusion on the stage. Then my supervisor went up to me like, what's going on? Everybody's angry, and they're like, I guess it got lost in translation where they didn't really understand maybe what I was doing. Like, these aren't my questions, these are my answers. And then I heard they had to spend several hours working together to rewrite the presentation or something. And it's like, and so I was sort of like, it was like my fail. But it's like, no, they don't get it. I just think trying to explain, in translation that. You still get an answer,
it's still the same answer, but it's just a different question.
But I think I was almost taken out of the equation at that point to, all they knew is, things didn't match up, and suddenly, okay, Chase, stand down, we'll fix this. And I'm like, no, it works. But anyways.
Nice.
But they didn't fire me. I was at that agency for 14 years before I went to Twitch, so
you clearly were okay after that. You bounced back.
And,
I think they're having a discussion about other games right now. They're just going crazy in the chat.
Oh.
So I think we're good. I think we've covered everything. Right now, you guys have a bunch of stuff happening over there. I'll just direct people to go watch the Twitch stream. How about that?
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh wait.
Dozer wants to know, will TwitchCon ever make its way to the East Coast?
That's a good question.
Anything's possible. I mean, we know we want to, keep, expanding. Whether it's, we don't know where we're going to go next. We know we've talked about Europe. We've talked about doing a lot of things. Heck, we've even talked about, having more than one TwitchCon. But I know, a year. But the minute we started TwitchCon, last year's TwitchCon ended, we've been working on the new one. And so how we fit another one in, I don't know. But but it's we definitely have the community to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's whether we have the internal staff to make it happen. But I mean, I wouldn't say East Coast is definitely not out of the question. Canada, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
I also like to try and champion things that benefit me, and I've only been to Canada once, so I'd love to get out there, so I'm going to champion that.
Nice. Train Z says, it's Chase. Hi.
Hey, how you doing,
Chase
Train
here.
Z TV? Actually, yeah, you better kick me off, because if I keep seeing people in chat, I'll just spend
We'll just
more
sit
time
here all
talking
day.
to them. It's like
I
feel like I'm on Twitch, but wait, I am on Twitch.
Just somewhere else.
Yes.
Maybe I'll see you at TwitchCon. We're trying to figure that out. I'd like to be there.
You guys should have a stage area set up there, so as people come there, you can do live from TwitchCon.
I would love to do it.
Everybody say this is too big for you guys to pull off. I go, oh no, wait, Joe will prove you wrong.
I'm down. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Cool, excellent.
Cool.
All
So
right.
thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the booth.
Oh, hey, I didn't even get to talk to X-Man. Hey, Solstice. All right. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you so much
see
for
you
coming.
next E3, or see you at TwitchCon.
See you at TwitchCon.
All right.
Exactly.
All right.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Peace.